Hello! This is about intuition and intellect. Why? Because they seem so separable. And can they be brought into alignment? For the purpose of this, we will first have some background sounds and get the cheat sheets. Okay, now let's take intuition and let's call it, for example, someone is looking out the window and they lose themselves and lose the sense of separate self for a minute, looking out the window. Let's call that, for expedience, let's call that state open intuition. And so intellect, what is that? Well, we know that we deal with things as separate. So everything else other than that open losing of separate self we'll call the area of the intellect. Or just for expedience, they're called separate things. It's like reinventing the wheel. We'll call open intuition, or let's call intellect area 1 and open intuition area 2. So what is it? How come we can be open-minded, free, unencumbered? Everyone is enlightened that way. Whether it's a substance that's leaned on, or some kind of meditation, or fun, or entertainment, or whatever it is, where that separation is lost, there's the open intuition. Not judging, what's the best way to be in that state. So anyway, okay, why do we tend to fixate so quickly into practical problems and lose that? Can we deal with all the things of life without losing that unseparatized self? Maybe call that the way we were born, or close to it in a way. So we got those two. We call them separate because in a way they are pushed pretty separate for whatever reason, and we get this polarity, very distinct seeming of polarity. It seems like within a person, an individual, they have that ability to be free-minded, be very free, but how come that is lost so quickly when we fixate into problem areas? Well, there are a lot of reasons. Here's an example. We lose it so quickly, say a parenting or mentoring issue, where the kid is not doing something that you think they need to do so they won't have a difficult life. Well, that is fear-based, isn't it? We're kind of fixated in problem mode, and in a way, that's how a parent blocks a child, by trying to force them to do what the parent thinks is right, and we're supposed to be afraid of the the screen, the monitor these days, the computer, the phone and all that. We're supposed to be afraid of them being too hooked on that, but isn't it the parent that's really hooked into their own expectations of fear, possibly? Just questions to ask about that. So, for reinventing the wheel, we have this area 1, where it's problem mode, fixation mode, where we lose area 2, we lose the free mind, and we enter this trapped sort of mind. Go back and forth. So how do the two get aligned? There's a lot to explore there. There's a lot of ways to negate and debunk the primary illusion of separateness. And there is a tipping point where the intellect finally has the whole thing, can understand the whole thing without, it doesn't mean you lose ability to do practical things. It's just a gradual process, developing, keeping that whatever floats your boat mode, keeping that, being able to keep that all the time going, which really, it's nothing to keep. It's like an uncovering, which is like what's already there. Because, it's too many silly games are played where a seeker believes they're not enlightened, so a teacher lets them fool themselves into believing that until something can trigger, oh, this is me doing this problem mode, fixating, and losing the open intuition at the price of the intellect. So there are many good sources for negating and debunking the primary illusion, and there is a tipping point where it starts developing, where less and less getting fully fixated into problem mode. My cheat sheets have here's some of the ones that I found really helpful, but there is many sources, whatever really floats your boat, and also somehow indicates where the intellect is going wrong when it loses the open intuition. We got African American gospel music, Diamond Sutra, a lot of the sutras, Ashtavakra Gita is my favorite from India and China and India had a really big, long period where they took it really far. I don't look for the religion in it. That's brought about by the misunderstanding of practitioners. The Gateless Gate by Muman. So there's some Zen things there, and Christian hymns can put people into that. Sufi, the Sufis of Islam, Nisargadatta, ultimatum pointers. Nisargadatta, ultimatum pointers, and all of Nisargadatta's teachings. He is a kind of a more recent siddha from India. But there's no need to fixate on anything. But just watch out for any teachers who really try to keep a student trapped where the teacher has it and is it, and the student is not it, and somehow and maybe off in the future can achieve it. No, it's a developing thing. There are tipping points, there are awakenings, but those are really just happening to the separable self, which is what is negated. So that covers kind of basic of what this channel will deal with. So maybe I didn't really explore a lot very deeply into why intellect and intuition get parted so far apart. I mean, it's really a huge thing. There's a lot of people who within themselves are parted into these extremes, and our culture at large is very polarized. Big groups of people go to these polar opposition modes and get trapped in the mind in so many different ways. But obviously, you know that I know, and there's nothing I can do to help. There's nothing the I or the you, the separate, can do to help. It is up to the self to negate, the illusions that are keeping it in bondage. We can call it for expedience. I mean, all words are used for expedience, and they can all be debated, all ideas. And so yeah, that's what this channel will be about. And when I start repeating myself, we'll say, okay, we'll start here.